Bitcoin serves as two kinds of hedges. One is a hedge against inflation and outright confiscation of wealth. The other is against counterparty risk. And when the regional banks started going down, this fear sort of, our memories are fresh with 0809, the counterparty risk became real. And so there was this.
Hey guys, welcome back to Everyday Finance. In this video, Cathie would discuss about Bitcoin ETF and crypto market. Cathie says, we've been putting out our Bitcoin monthly for the last year. We are now starting a Bitcoin brainstorming session. Our first one we launched last Thursday. So we're trying to get the word out there that, our research is deep and we've been doing it since 2015 when we gained our first exposure to BTC. We were the first public asset manager to gain exposure to Bitcoin, and all in 2015. And I asked this question to Cathie, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust known by its ticker GEC. If you look at our DOU, for example, your archaic next generation internet ETF, right now I see GBTC as the third largest holding. If we are in a situation where the SEC does give its blessing for a spot Bitcoin ETF, would you plan to sell out of GEC and buy one of these physically backed funds? Then Cathie answered me, so I cannot talk about what we would and would not do. And in fact, our compliance team is, giving us marching orders not to talk very much about this filing and its aftermath at all. So just the fact that we filed with our partner 21 shares is as far as I can go. And lots of things Cathie would discuss, so please watch the video to end and share. Subscribe our channel Everyday Finance. Thanks.
Yes, I do think that in June, when BlackRock announced its filing, or when it was announced that BlackRock had filed for a Bitcoin ETF, the Bitcoin price did shoot up, but has been fairly stable since then. So I do think it's had an impact. A bigger impact this year was the regional bank crisis. It was very interesting to watch Bitcoin go from 19,000 to 30,000 right in the middle of that banking crisis as regional banks were going bankrupt. So it was a flight to safety. So I thought that move was just as interesting. Well, if you think about it, Bitcoin serves as two kinds of hedges. One is a hedge against inflation and outright confiscation of wealth. The other is against counterparty risk. And when the regional banks started going down, this fear sort of, our memories are fresh with 0809, the counterparty risk became real. And so there was this flight into Bitcoin, a completely decentralized, transparent network, which is not subject to counterparty risk. I think you're probably right that August 13th will come and go. And I think the SEC, if it's going to approve a Bitcoin ETF, will approve more than one at once. So then, again, because most of these essentially will be the same, and it will come down to marketing, communicating the message. We've been putting out our Bitcoin monthly for the last year. We are now starting a Bitcoin brainstorming session. Our first one we launched last Thursday. So we're trying to get the word out there that our research is deep. And we've been doing it since 2015 when we gained our first exposure to GBTC. We were the first public asset manager to gain exposure to Bitcoin at all in 2015. I cannot talk about what we would and would not do. And in fact, our compliance team is, giving us marching orders not to talk very much about this filing and its aftermath at all. So just the fact that we filed with our partner 21 shares is as far as I can go.
Fair
I'm sorry,
enough.
Kate. Well, I think that the two other branches of government, the judicial branch and the legislative branch, are giving the SEC pause because the SEC is losing cases in court having to do with its regulations around crypto. That's the first thing. And there are bills that are making their way through the House and are seeing some bipartisan support. So I do believe that Gary Gensler, I guess last week or 10 days ago, said something like, well, you know, I'm not the only one who makes this decision. There are 5 commissioners. Now, of course, we know they're weighted towards the Democrats, 3 Democrats, 2 Republicans. And so one assumes that the way that Gary votes is the way the FCC will vote. But he seemed to be distancing himself a little bit, and so maybe we can take that as a bit of a clue. No, well, both. We think that it is the most regulatory compliant exchange out there. And we've been very pleased with how its derivatives exchange in Bermuda has ramped in here. It's very early days, but again, clearly a trusted partner. And we are also seeing that there's more turmoil out there, I guess. Hubei, I think that's how you say the name of the exchange, and Tether and Binance. There are rumblings out there that not is all is well, and so Coinbase is going to be the flight to safety exchange, no doubt about it. Well, what I find so interesting still, and this is why we believe that the SEC will lose the grayscale case. How can you approve a Bitcoin futures ETF and not a Bitcoin ETF? And in fact, if you're really thinking about consumer protection, a futures ETF is swap space. So there's counterparty risk there that you would not have with a Bitcoin ETF, which is backed 1-to-1 with Bitcoin in Coinbase's cold storage. It still confounds me. Well, we loved Zach and love Zach and think he will do very well wherever he goes. I know there are rumors out that there are some CEO positions out there, which he might like to take. So we will miss him, but his successor has been with Tesla right underneath him since 2018. So he was put through the fires. Remember, in 2018-19, many analysts were saying that Tesla was going bankrupt. And so he's been there, he's gone through the fire, and, you know, it's a tough job. It's a tough job. So I guess 13 years was a really good run for Zach, and can't say enough good things about him and what he did for Tesla. But I think he trained his successor well. Well, as you know, we have a 5-year investment time horizon, and we do think the cycle for autos is going to get tougher in here generally. But we think, just like last year when electric vehicles were up 69% or 65%, something like that, and gas-powered vehicles down 7% globally, we think we're going to continue to see that share shift accelerate because electric vehicle prices are going to follow their costs down in a way that gas-powered cars cannot. So we think that electric vehicles will be less expensive, and they are better cars than gas-powered vehicles. So we think they're going to take tremendous share. And even if the auto market relapses in here, which we think it could, we don't think electric vehicles will relapse. So we think the 1.8 million for this year, which was, Elon said 1.8 to 2 million, they're going to have some shutdowns in the third quarter for maintenance and upgrades, and so he lowered his expectation to the lower end of that range. I think he likes to lower expectations and then beat, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's higher than that.